I smiled while adjusting my tie in front of the bedroom mirror. The small apartment looked messy because wedding magazines, venue brochures, and invitation samples covered almost every table. None of the mess bothered me. Every paper represented another step toward the future I wanted. My phone buzzed. "Olivia, everything okay?" I asked. Olivia laughed. "Everything is perfect. Did Ethan Carter remember the cake tasting tomorrow?" "I wouldn't miss free cake." Olivia laughed again. "Ethan Carter only thinks about food. I also think about my beautiful fiancée." I like that answer better. I sat on a couch and looked at the engagement ring sparkling on Olivia's finger in the picture saved as my wallpaper. I still can't believe Olivia said yes. Olivia answered softly. Olivia couldn't imagine saying no. "You know something?" "What?" "I finally feel peaceful." "Peaceful?" "I spent years worrying about the future. Now every dream has a date. Our wedding. Our honeymoon. Our first house." Olivia became quiet. "Olivia, I'm listening. I want simple things." "What kind of simple things?" "I want Sunday mornings with coffee. I want movie nights. I want children running through the backyard someday." Olivia whispered. "Olivia wants that too. I promise I'll spend the rest of my life protecting everything we build together." "I know. I love Olivia. I love Ethan." The call ended, but the smile stayed on my face. I packed the wedding contracts into my backpack before leaving for another meeting with the event planner. Rain covered Seattle in a gray curtain. The weather forecast warned drivers to slow down, but I wasn't worried. I had driven through worse storms. The highway looked almost empty. My phone vibrated once. A message from Olivia appeared. "Drive safely. Don't make Olivia a widow before the wedding. Asterisk, asterisk." I laughed. I typed a quick reply. "I'll be home soon." Seconds later, bright headlights exploded across my windshield. Everything happened too fast. Tires screamed. Metal crashed. Glass shattered around me. The steering wheel slammed into my chest. Pain shot through every part of my body. Darkness swallowed everything. A sharp beeping sound pulled me awake. My eyes struggled to open. Bright white lights blurred above me. Every breath hurt. My arm refused to move. A tube rested beside my face. I looked around slowly. Hospital. The realization hit harder than the accident. I reached for my phone with trembling fingers. The screen showed dozens of missed calls from unknown numbers, but only one name mattered. Olivia. I pressed the call button immediately. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. "I'll keep trying," I whispered. Hours passed. Rain tapped against the hospital window. Machines continued their endless beeping. I called again. Still nothing. My chest hurt more from waiting than from surgery. Late that evening, the phone finally connected. "Olivia." "Ethan." Relief flooded through me. "Thank God. Where is Olivia?" "The doctors said surgery lasted hours." "I thought Olivia would already be here." Silence answered first. "I'm sorry." "Traffic?" "No." "Work emergency?" "No." "Then what's happening?" Another long silence. Finally, Olivia spoke. "Mason came back." The name froze my blood. "Mason Reed." "Yes." "I don't understand." "Mason contacted Olivia today." "Today?" "Yes." "I almost died." "I know. I woke up asking for Olivia." "I know. Then why isn't Olivia here?" "I needed to meet Mason." I couldn't breathe. "You needed to meet Mason?" Olivia needed answers. "What about me?" "I didn't expect the accident." "But the accident happened." "I know. I'm lying in a hospital bed." "I know. I thought Olivia would run through those doors." "I'm sorry." "No." "Ethan." "No." Another painful silence filled the room. Finally, I forced myself to ask, "Is Olivia choosing Mason?" "I don't know. That's not an answer. I need time." "You had time." "Ethan, you had years." "I never expected Mason to return. I never expected Olivia to leave. I didn't mean to hurt Ethan. But Olivia did. I feel confused. I feel abandoned. I'll visit tomorrow." "I don't want tomorrow." "I'm sorry. I wanted Olivia today." The line went silent. A second later, the call ended. I stared at the phone until the screen turned black. No tears came. The pain inside my heart felt too deep for tears. My eyes slowly moved toward the small hospital table beside my bed. A nurse had placed my wallet there after surgery. Inside the wallet rested the second engagement ring receipt I had carried since proposing. I pulled the folded paper out with shaking fingers. I really believed love could survive anything, I whispered to the empty room. Outside, rain continued falling. Inside Bellevue Medical Center, I realized broken bones would heal long before my broken heart. I closed my hand around the receipt and wondered whether the woman I planned to marry had ever truly loved me at all. The morning sunlight slipped through the hospital window, but I felt no warmth. My phone rested on the bedside table. Every few minutes, I picked it up, unlocked the screen, and searched for Olivia's name. Nothing. No call. No message. No apology. The door opened. Ethan. I turned toward the familiar voice. Grace. My older sister hurried across the room and wrapped careful arms around me. I came as fast as I could. I'm glad Grace came. Grace stepped back and studied my face. What happened? I crashed on the highway. I know that part. Grace lowered a voice. Where's Olivia? I looked away. I don't know. What does that mean? Olivia never came. Grace frowned. Never. I slowly shook my head. Not once. Grace stared at the empty visitor chair beside my bed. Olivia left Ethan alone after emergency surgery? I called, and Olivia answered. Good. No. Grace looked confused. What happened? Mason Reed came back. Grace's expression changed immediately. Mason? Yes. And Olivia chose Mason instead of coming here. I swallowed hard. Yes. Grace closed both eyes for a moment. I always hoped Olivia had forgotten Mason. So did I. Grace pulled the visitor chair closer. Ethan. What? Listen carefully. I'm listening. None of this is Ethan's fault. I keep wondering if I wasn't enough. Stop. I loved Olivia with everything I had. I know. I never lied. I know. I never cheated. I know. I kept every promise. I know. Then why wasn't I enough? Grace reached for my hand. Because Olivia made a choice. Ethan didn't create that choice. Tears finally escaped. I waited all night. I know. I believed every elevator sound meant Olivia had arrived. Grace squeezed my hand tighter. I'm here now. I wish Olivia had been here. I know. A gentle knock interrupted us. The door opened again. A woman wearing a white coat entered with a warm smile. Good morning. Grace stood. Hello. I'm Dr. Hannah Collins. I nodded. Nice to meet Hannah. Dr. Hannah smiled. How is the pain today? My ribs still hurt. Anything else? My heart hurts more. Dr. Hannah looked at me for a second before speaking. I can't prescribe medicine for heartbreak. I figured that. But I can help Ethan heal enough to walk out of this hospital. I'll try. No. Dr. Hannah smiled gently. Ethan won't try. I look confused. Ethan will succeed. I don't feel strong. Strength doesn't begin after recovery. What do you mean? Strength begins the moment Ethan decides not to quit. Grace nodded. Exactly. Dr. Hannah checked the chart. Surgery went well. That's good. The next few weeks won't be easy. I expected that. Physical therapy starts tomorrow. So soon. The sooner Ethan starts moving, the sooner Ethan goes home. I'll do it. I believe Ethan. Dr. Hannah finished writing notes. One more thing. Yes. Less time staring at the phone. I forced a weak smile. Was it obvious? Very. I'm waiting for someone. Dr. Hannah answered softly. Sometimes waiting causes deeper wounds than broken bones. Those words stayed inside my mind long after Dr. Hannah left the room. Grace looked toward my phone. Any message? No. Call again. I don't know. What does Ethan want? I want Olivia to choose me. Grace sighed quietly. Ethan deserves someone who never has to choose. I wanted to argue. Instead, I unlocked my phone again. Still nothing. Hours later, a nurse helped me stand for the first time. Pain exploded through my ribs. I can't. You can, the nurse encouraged. I'll fall. No. Grace stood beside me. I've got Ethan. I took one painful step, then another. Every movement reminded me I was alive. Every glance toward my silent phone reminded me someone had already walked away. That evening, I checked the screen one more time. No missed calls. No text. Only silence. I stared out the window and whispered, how could love disappear in one day? The next morning, I forced myself through another rehabilitation session. Every step felt like fire shooting through my ribs, but I refused to stop. I kept telling myself that if my body could heal, maybe my heart could survive too. After therapy, I returned to my room and reached for my phone again. Nothing. No message from Olivia. No missed call. I laughed bitterly. I really believed Olivia would come. A knock interrupted my thoughts. "Come in." The door opened, and Noah Bennett walked inside, carrying a paper bag. "Noah." "Ethan." Noah placed the bag on the table. "I brought Ethan's favorite cheeseburger. I can't even eat half of that. Then I'll finish the rest." For the first time in days, I smiled. "Thanks for coming. I wasn't going to leave Ethan alone." Noah pulled up a chair. "The office misses Ethan. I miss normal life. You'll get back." "I hope so." Silence settled between us for a moment. Noah looked uncomfortable. "What?" "I don't know if I should say this." "Just say it." "I saw Olivia." My heartbeat quickened. "Where?" "A restaurant downtown. Maybe Olivia was meeting a client." Noah didn't answer. "Tell me." "Mason Reed was there." I stared at Noah. Are Noah's eyes playing tricks? I wish they were. "No." "I saw Olivia and Mason together." "I don't believe it." "I knew Ethan wouldn't. It has to be a misunderstanding." "I thought the same." "Then forget it." "I can't." "Why?" Noah slowly reached into a folder. "I hoped Ethan wouldn't need this." "What is it?" "Pictures." My hands trembled. "I don't want to see them." "I know, but Ethan deserves the truth." I slowly took the photographs. The first picture showed Olivia smiling across a restaurant table. The second picture showed Mason holding Olivia's hand. The third picture hurt the most. Olivia hugged Mason with the same warmth I thought belonged only to me. My vision blurred. "I can't." Noah quietly spoke. "I'm sorry. I kept making excuses." "I know." I told myself Olivia was confused. "I know. I believed every lie because the truth scared me." Noah nodded. "The truth hurts. It feels like the accident happened all over again." "You survived the first one. I don't know if I'll survive this." "You will." How can Noah be so sure? "Because Ethan is stronger than Ethan believes." I looked down at the engagement ring resting on the bedside table. I bought that ring after saving money for 2 years. I remember. I imagined growing old together. I know. I planned every detail. I know. I wasn't fighting for a wedding. I swallowed hard. I was fighting for a future. Noah placed a hand on my shoulder. That future ended. Tears rolled down my face. I don't want to let go. Sometimes letting go is the only way to keep living. I picked up the ring. The small diamond reflected the afternoon sunlight. "So many promises." "So many broken promises," Noah replied. I closed my fingers around the ring. I kept waiting for Olivia to come through that door. Noah remained silent. I kept believing one apology would fix everything. It won't. I know. Those words hurt because they were true. I slowly slid the ring into its small velvet box. My hands refused to move for several seconds. Finally, I closed the lid. The quiet click sounded louder than any scream. "I'm done waiting." Noah smiled sadly. "What now?" "Now I survive." "What about Olivia?" "I can't chase someone who walked away." "What about Mason?" "I don't need revenge." "What do Ethan need?" "I need my life back." Noah stood and offered a hand. "Then let's start there." I accepted the handshake. For the first time since waking inside Bellevue Medical Center, I stopped looking toward the door. I stopped expecting Olivia to appear. I stopped making excuses. My heart still hurt. My body still ached. My future still looked uncertain. But I finally understood one painful truth. Anyone willing to leave me during the darkest moment of my life was never meant to stay beside me during the brightest. I placed the engagement ring inside my backpack, not because I still believe in the promise, but because I needed one final reminder. From that day forward, I would fight for my own survival instead of begging for someone else's love. 3 months passed before I finally walked without pain. My ribs healed faster than my heart, but every new day felt a little lighter than the last. I stopped checking my phone every hour. I stopped expecting impossible apologies. Instead, I started rebuilding the life I almost lost. One afternoon, Noah Bennett arrived at my apartment carrying 2 cups of coffee and a laptop. I brought caffeine and an idea. I smiled. Noah always brings trouble with coffee. I'll accept that. What idea? Quit the old company. I looked at Noah. That's a big decision. No, it feels big. Ethan already gave years to that company. I did. What did Ethan get? A paycheck. And experience. And I laughed quietly. Long hours. Exactly. Noah opened the laptop. I've been thinking that usually costs money. It might make money this time. The screen displayed business plans, software designs, and financial projections. What is all this? Our company. Our company. Yes. I don't know. No. I'm still recovering. No better time. I've never owned a business. Neither had every successful founder before starting. I leaned back. What if I fail? What if Ethan succeeds? Silence filled the room. I don't feel ready. No one ever feels ready. I don't have confidence. I have enough confidence for both of us. I smiled. No one ever gives up. Not on friends. I looked at the plans again. What will we build? Business management software. That's competitive. So we could lose. We could also win. I closed the laptop slowly. I need one day. I'll give Ethan tonight. Noah stood. Think about the future instead of the past. I'll try. No. Noah pointed toward me. Promise. I promise. After Noah left, I sat quietly with the laptop beside me. For the first time since the accident, I felt excited instead of afraid. The following morning, I called Noah. I'm in. I knew Ethan would say yes. Don't make Noah regret believing in me. I won't. During the next several weeks, my days became busy. I attended physical therapy. I studied market research. I worked on software designs. I slept very little. One afternoon, I returned to Bellevue Medical Center for another follow-up appointment. Dr. Hannah Collins smiled after reviewing the latest scans. I have good news. I could use some. The fractures healed beautifully. So, I'm finally normal? Dr. Hannah laughed. I can only comment on bones. I walked into that joke. You certainly did. I smiled. Thank Hannah. You earned a recovery. I almost quit therapy several times. I know. What gave Hannah that idea? The complaints. I complained a little. A little. I laughed again. Fine. Dr. Hannah placed the medical file aside. Something changed. What changed? The expression. What expression? The hopeless one. I guess life finally moved. What happened? I'm starting a company. Dr. Hannah's eyes brightened. Really? Yes. Congratulations. I'm terrified. That's normal. What if everything collapses? What if everything grows? I've heard those words before. They're still true. I appreciate Hannah's optimism. I appreciate Ethan's determination. The appointment ended, but I left smiling. Outside the hospital, I realized the building no longer reminded me only of betrayal. The building also reminded me of survival. Several weeks later, Grace Carter invited me to dinner. Grace served homemade pasta before studying my face carefully. Ethan looks tired. I'm working every day. Good. I'm trying to build something. I'm proud already. I haven't earned success. Success isn't only money. What is success? Getting back up. I nodded. I still think about Olivia sometimes. I expected that. I don't miss the relationship. What do Ethan miss? The future I imagined. Grace reached across the table. The future changed. I know. That doesn't mean the future disappeared. I still feel angry. At Olivia. Sometimes. At Mason. Sometimes. At myself. I look down. Mostly. Grace shook the head gently. Ethan can't punish Ethan forever. I keep asking different questions. Like what? What if I called earlier? What if I'd stayed home? What if the accident never happened? Grace answered softly. Those questions have no finish line. I know. So ask a better question. What question? What will Ethan do tomorrow? I smiled. I'll write more code. Good answer. I'll fight for the company. Better answer. I'll stop chasing ghosts. Grace smiled proudly. That's the best answer yet. That night, I returned home with a lighter heart. For the first time in months, I believed tomorrow could become better than yesterday. The following months became the busiest season of my life. Every morning started before sunrise. I reviewed software code, answered emails, and met potential clients with Noah Bennett. Every evening ended with another list of goals for the next day. The harder I worked, the less room my mind had for painful memories. One afternoon, Noah placed another folder on my desk. I have news. Good news or expensive news? Both. I laughed. I'm listening. A local company wants a demonstration. Already, they liked our presentation. That feels unreal. It becomes real if Ethan impresses them. I'll do my best. I expect nothing less. The meeting lasted almost 2 hours. I answered every technical question with confidence. When the clients finally left, Noah smiled. Ethan looked like a completely different person. I felt different. I noticed. I wasn't thinking about Olivia. You were thinking about the future. Exactly. That evening, my phone buzzed with a message from an old coworker. Have you heard about Olivia? I stared at the screen for several seconds before replying. No. Another message appeared. Olivia and Mason argue everywhere. Mason controls everything. People say Mason lost a lot of money. Asterisk, asterisk. I placed the phone face down without answering again. No one noticed my silence. Everything okay? I heard another rumor. About Olivia? Yes. What will Ethan do? Nothing. No. Curiosity? A little. No. Rescue mission? I shook my head. No. Good. I can't build a new life while looking over my shoulder. Noah nodded. That's the Ethan I wanted to see. A week later, I returned to Bellevue Medical Center for one final follow-up appointment. Dr. Hannah Collins smiled after reviewing my file. I officially have nothing left to fix. That's wonderful. How does Ethan feel? Healthy and emotionally? I smiled honestly. Still healing. That's a fair answer. I don't hate Olivia anymore. That's progress. I don't forgive everything either. You don't have to rush forgiveness. I finally understand that. Dr. Hannah closed the file. I'm glad Ethan kept moving. I almost didn't, but Ethan did. I had help. I'm happy I could be a small part of that. You were a very important part. Dr. Hannah smiled warmly. Keep taking care of yourself. I will. And don't forget to celebrate victories. I usually move straight to the next goal. Take one evening to enjoy success. I promise. A few days later, Noah rushed into the office with excitement shining across the face. Ethan, what happened? The clients called. My heart started racing. And they accepted our proposal. I stood immediately. Seriously? Seriously? How big is the contract? Noah handed me the paperwork. I stared at the numbers. This changes everything. It certainly does. I picked up the pen. My hand paused above the signature line for one brief moment. I remember the hospital room. I remembered waiting for a phone call that never came. I remembered believing my life had ended. Now another future waited in front of me. Noah smiled. Ready? I nodded. More than ever. I signed my name across the contract. The ink dried within seconds, but the meaning lasted much longer. Noah extended a hand. Congratulations, partner. I accepted the handshake. We actually did it. No. What? Ethan did it. We did it together. Noah laughed. I'll accept half the credit. That's fair. Later that evening, I stood outside the office and watched the sunset over Seattle. The wind felt different. The city looked different. Maybe nothing around me had changed. Maybe I had changed instead. I reached into my pocket and found the old engagement ring box. I looked at it quietly for several seconds before placing it back inside my desk drawer after returning upstairs. The ring no longer represented my future. The signed contract did. For the first time since the accident, I smiled without forcing the expression. I wasn't rebuilding the life I had lost anymore. I was building a completely new one, and this time every step forward belonged to me alone. Almost 8 months had passed since I signed the first contract for my company. Every morning started with meetings, deadlines, and new opportunities. The silence that once haunted my apartment had been replaced by keyboard clicks, client calls, and hopeful plans. I no longer woke up wondering whether Olivia would call. I woke up wondering how far I could grow. One afternoon, I locked the office door after finishing a meeting. A familiar voice stopped me. Ethan. I froze. Slowly, I turned around. Olivia stood a few feet away. For a brief second, old memories flashed through my mind. The engagement, the hospital room, the unanswered calls. Then the memories faded. Hello, Olivia. Olivia looked down before speaking. I wasn't sure Ethan would stop. I almost didn't. I understand. Silence settled between us. Finally, I asked, "Why is Olivia here? I need 5 minutes. I have a meeting soon. Please." I studied Olivia's face. The confident smile I once knew had disappeared. Dark circles rested beneath tired eyes. The expensive clothes looked wrinkled. The woman standing in front of me looked nothing like the woman who walked away from the hospital. I nodded once. 5 minutes. Olivia released a slow breath. "Thank you." I pointed toward a nearby bench outside the office building. We sat several feet apart. Neither of us spoke immediately. Finally, Olivia broke the silence. "I'm sorry." I looked toward the street instead of answering. I know saying sorry isn't enough. "No, I hurt Ethan. Yes. I wanted this conversation for months. I didn't." Olivia lowered the head. "I deserve that." I stayed quiet. Mason wasn't the person Olivia remembered. "I guess that." "No, Ethan doesn't understand." "Then explain." Olivia wiped away a tear. Mason promised a fresh start. I listened without interrupting. Mason said everything would be different. And Mason wanted access to my savings. I slowly looked toward Olivia. My savings disappeared. I remained silent. Mason kept asking for investments. What happened? I believed every promise. And then Mason lost the money. All of it. Olivia nodded. Almost everything. I folded my hands together. "Anything else?" Olivia laughed bitterly. "There was always something else." "What?" "I found messages." "Messages?" "Other women." I closed my eyes for a second. Mason cheated. Repeatedly. "I'm sorry." Olivia looked surprised. "Sorry?" "I'm sorry anyone treated Olivia that way. I don't deserve kindness." "I'm not being kind." "What is Ethan being?" "Honest." Another long silence followed. Olivia whispered. "Mason blamed everyone except Mason." "I expected that." "Mason shouted every day." I said nothing. "Mason called me useless." The words reminded me of my own lonely nights inside the hospital. I finally realized something. "What?" "I abandoned the only person who never abandoned me." I slowly answered. "Too late." Fresh tears rolled down Olivia's face. "I know. I waited. I know. I begged. I know. I almost died. I know. I can't erase any of it. No. I wish I could. I don't." Olivia looked confused. "Why?" "Because the pain changed me." "What does that mean?" If Olivia hadn't walked away, I might still be living the same small life. I destroyed everything. "No." Olivia stared at me. "The accident destroyed one future." I pointed toward the office behind me. "The betrayal forced me to build another." "I don't understand." "I wouldn't have started my company." Olivia looked at the building. "I heard the business is successful." "It is. I'm happy for Ethan." I smiled politely. "Thank you." I wanted to say something else. "What?" "I miss Ethan." I answered calmly. "Olivia misses the person who loved without limits." "Yes. That person doesn't exist anymore." Olivia covered the face with trembling hands. "I know Ethan hates me." I shook my head. "I don't." "You don't." I spent months believing hate would make me stronger. "What happened?" "I learned hate keeps old wounds alive." Olivia slowly looked into my eyes. "Then is there hope?" I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I looked at the sky above the city. The silence between us said far more than words ever could. Finally, I spoke quietly. "Some things can be forgiven." Olivia's eyes filled with hope. "But not everything can be rebuilt." Olivia's hopeful expression slowly disappeared as the meaning settled between us. Olivia lowered the head and wiped away another tear. "So this is goodbye?" I took a slow breath. I think goodbye happened the day Olivia left the hospital. I deserve that answer. I didn't say it to hurt Olivia. I know. I said it because it's true. Olivia nodded quietly. I replay that day every night. I used to replay that day too. What changed? I stopped asking why. And I started asking what came next. Olivia looked toward my office building. Ethan built a new life. I did. Without Olivia, I had no choice. You always had a choice. No. I shook my head. My only choice was whether I stayed broken or kept moving. Another silence settled between us. Finally, Olivia whispered, "Can Ethan ever forgive me?" I answered honestly, "I already have." Olivia looked shocked. You have. I don't carry anger anymore. Then why can't we start over? Because forgiveness isn't the same as trust. Olivia closed the eyes. I understand. I hope Olivia really does. I do. My heart remembers every unanswered call. I know. My mind remembers every empty hour inside that hospital room. I know. I can't pretend those memories disappeared. I wouldn't ask Ethan to pretend. I stood from the bench. I should go. One last question. I nodded. What would Ethan have done if our places were reversed? I smiled sadly. I would have run to the hospital. Olivia covered the mouth while crying. I know. At that moment, my phone rang. Grace Carter's name appeared on the screen. I need to take this. Of course. I answered immediately. Hi, Grace. Everything okay? Yes. I heard someone from the office say Olivia was outside. That's true. How are you feeling? Calm. I'm proud of Ethan. I didn't expect to feel this way. What happened? I realized revenge isn't necessary. Grace's voice became gentle. That's called healing. I listened to Olivia. And life already punished Olivia. Sometimes karma works without our help. I finally believe that. Grace paused before speaking again. Remember something. I'm listening. Forgiveness never requires reconciliation. I smiled. I needed to hear that. Then remember it. I will. After ending the call, I found Noah Bennett walking toward the office entrance. Noah noticed Olivia immediately. I came a bad time. No. Olivia stood quietly. Noah looked at me. Everything settled? Yes. Noah smiled. Good. Olivia looked between both of us. I guess Ethan has good people now. I do. Noah folded the arms. The past doesn't deserve another chance to steal Ethan's future. I agree. Olivia lowered the eyes. I won't come back again. I think that's best. I truly hope Ethan stays happy. I plan to. Olivia reached into a purse and removed a small envelope. I wrote an apology. I looked at the envelope but didn't reach for it. I don't need it. Please. The words wouldn't change the past. They might help me. I gently pushed the envelope back. Then keep it. Olivia looked confused. Why? Because the apology Olivia really needs isn't for me. Olivia waited quietly. It's for the version of Olivia who abandoned values for an old memory. Fresh tears appeared again. I lost everything. I answered softly. No. What do you mean? Olivia still has time to become a better person. I don't know how. Start by telling yourself the truth every morning. And what truth is that? Every choice has a price. Olivia nodded slowly. I'll remember. Without another word, Olivia turned and walked toward the parking lot. I watched until the figure disappeared around the corner. Surprisingly, I felt nothing except peace. No anger. No desire for revenge. No wish to reopen the past. Only peace. Noah stood beside me. Ready to get back to work? I smiled. More than ever. Together, we walked into the office. I didn't look back. Some doors had closed forever. For the first time, I understood that karma never rushed because life always collected every unpaid debt at the perfect moment. My job was never to chase justice. My job was simply to keep walking forward. Nearly a year had passed since the accident. My company continued growing beyond every goal Noah Bennett and I had imagined. Every success reminded me that the darkest day of my life had become the starting point of a completely different future. One Monday morning, my assistant knocked on the office door. Ethan, come in. Someone wants to see Ethan. Do I have an appointment? No. Who is it? The assistant hesitated. Mason Reed. For a moment, I simply stared. Then I nodded. Send Mason in. A few seconds later, Mason walked into my office. The expensive confidence Mason once carried had disappeared. The suit looked old. The face looked tired. The eyes avoided mine. Mason. Ethan. I pointed toward the chair. Sit down. Thank you. Silence filled the room. Finally, I spoke. What brings Mason here? I need help. I didn't expect those words. I never expected to say them. What kind of help? My company is struggling. I heard. I need an investor. I remained quiet. I've seen what Ethan built. Thank you. I know Ethan has money now. I do. I'm asking Ethan to invest. I folded my hands together. Why me? Mason looked embarrassed. Because no bank trusts me anymore. And Ethan should. I know I don't deserve trust. That's true. I'm trying to fix everything. Are you? Yes. I looked directly at Mason. Then fix everything without me. Mason lowered the head. Please. I can't. Why? I answered calmly. Business isn't built on sympathy. I'll repay every dollar. This isn't about money. Then what is it? Trust. I understand. No. I shook my head. Mason doesn't. Silence returned. Finally, Mason spoke again. I know what happened to the hospital. I said nothing. I know Mason played a part. A part. I didn't force Olivia. No, you didn't. I only came back. Exactly. Mason didn't know Ethan was in the hospital. That changes nothing. I never wanted Ethan to suffer. But Ethan did. Mason slowly nodded. I deserve that answer. I don't hate Mason. You don't. Hate wastes energy. Then why refuse? Because I learned to protect my future. Mason looked around the office. Ethan really built all this. I did. I underestimated Ethan. I underestimated myself for years. Mason stood slowly. So this is the end? For this conversation, yes. I wish things had happened differently. So do I. I'm sorry. I accept the apology. Hope appeared across Mason's face. But that doesn't mean I'll write a check. The hope disappeared immediately. I understand. I hope Mason truly does. Without another word, Mason walked toward the door. Just before leaving, Mason stopped. One last thing. What? Ethan won. I smiled slightly. This was never a competition. Mason quietly left the office. A few minutes later, Noah Bennett entered. I passed Mason in the hallway. So did I. What happened? Mason wanted an investment. Noah laughed. Seriously? Very seriously. What did Ethan say? I said no. Any argument? No. Any revenge speech? No. Any insults? No. Noah smiled proudly. I'm glad. I didn't need revenge. What changed? I already have everything Mason wanted to take. What? My piece. Noah nodded. No amount of money can replace that. Later that evening, my phone buzzed with breaking news notifications. I opened the first headline. Local business owner Mason Reed under fraud investigation. Another headline followed. Multiple investors file lawsuits against Mason Reed. I quietly placed the phone on my desk. No celebration filled my heart. Only silence. Noah looked across the office. Justice arrived. I slowly nodded. It arrived without my help. The following morning, another email appeared from an old coworker. The message contained only one sentence. Olivia lost another promotion because executives no longer trust decisions connected to Mason Reed. I closed the email without replying. For the first time, I realized karma never needed my hands. Life had already started collecting every debt on its own. The days after Mason's visit became strangely quiet. My company continued growing, clients kept signing contracts, and new projects filled every week. Yet one thing returned again and again. Olivia. Not in person. Through letters. Through emails. Through voice messages. Every few days, another apology appeared. One evening, I opened the first handwritten letter. Ethan, Olivia knows words cannot repair the pain. Olivia thinks about the hospital every day. Olivia wishes one different decision had been made. Olivia will regret that choice forever. I folded the letter carefully. Noah Bennett looked across the office. Another one? Yes. Will Ethan answer? No. Why? Because Olivia isn't asking a question. What is Olivia doing? Trying to escape guilt. Noah nodded. Can Ethan remove that guilt? I can't. A week later, another email arrived. Then another. Then another. Each message sounded sincere. Each apology felt genuine. But every message reminded me of one empty hospital room. One afternoon, I listened to a voice message. Ethan, Olivia doesn't expect forgiveness. Olivia only wants Ethan to know that every day feels like punishment. I quietly stopped the recording. I whispered to myself, regret changes the future, but regret never changes the past. A few days later, I returned to Bellevue Medical Center for a routine checkup. Dr. Hannah Collins smiled after reading my latest report. Everything looks excellent. My body finally agrees. Dr. Hannah laughed. And how is the heart? Much better. Completely healed? I thought for a moment. Almost. What remains? Old memories. Dr. Hannah close the file. Memories don't disappear. I know, but memories don't have to control tomorrow. I've learned that. Dr. Hannah studied my face. Something still bothers Ethan. I keep receiving apologies. From Olivia? Yes. What does Ethan feel while reading them? Sad. For Olivia? For both of us. Dr. Hannah nodded. That's normal. I don't want bitterness anymore. Then don't carry it. I don't know how. Dr. Hannah smiled gently. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. I understand. Forgiveness is refusing to let yesterday steal today. I repeated the words quietly. Refusing to let yesterday steal today. Exactly. I think I needed that. I think Ethan was already close. After leaving the hospital, I drove home instead of returning to the office. The apartment felt peaceful. I opened my desk drawer. The small velvet engagement ring box still rested inside. I stared at it for several minutes. I remembered buying the ring. I remembered the proposal. I remembered the wedding plans. Then I remembered the hospital room. I remembered waiting. I remembered unanswered calls. I remembered choosing hope until hope finally disappeared. I opened the box one last time. The diamonds still sparkled, but the meaning had vanished long ago. I smiled sadly. Thank you for reminding me who I used to be. I closed the lid. Instead of placing the box back inside the drawer, I carried it outside. A trash bin stood near the sidewalk. My hand paused for only 1 second. Then I dropped the ring into the bin. The soft sound of the box landing felt surprisingly peaceful. No anger followed. No tears appeared. Only relief. When I walked back toward my apartment, my phone vibrated again. Another email from Olivia waited unopened. This time, I didn't read it. I quietly deleted the message. Not because the apology lacked sincerity. Not because I hated Olivia. Because I finally understood something important. The chapter with Olivia had already ended. My future no longer needed permission from my past. For the first time since the accident, I felt completely free. I smiled, unlocked my apartment door, and stepped inside knowing I had finally chosen myself over every broken promise behind me. 1 year changed everything. I still remembered the hospital room where I thought my life had ended. I still remembered waiting for someone who never came. But when I looked around my new office, surrounded by my team and the company I built, I realized something important. The person I was back then no longer existed. Ethan. I turned toward Noah Bennett. What happened? Noah smiled and held a tablet. Another client signed. I laughed. Another one? Yes. How many does that make this month? 7. I shook my head. 7 contracts in 1 month. 7 reasons to celebrate. I still can't believe this happened. Why? Because a year ago, I was lying in a hospital bed thinking everything was over. Noah placed the tablet down. Everything wasn't over. I know that now. You built something incredible. We built something incredible. Noah smiled, still sharing credit. Always. The office door opened. Grace Carter walked inside, carrying a small gift bag. I knew I would find both of you celebrating without inviting me. I smiled. Grace always arrives at the perfect moment. Someone has to keep Ethan humble. Noah laughed. That's a full-time job. Grace looked around the office. I remember visiting Ethan in that hospital room. I remember too. I remember seeing someone who didn't believe life could get better. I didn't. Grace placed the gift bag on my desk. Open it. I opened the package and found a simple picture frame. Inside was a photo of the entire team. When did Grace take this? Last week. I look happy. You are happy. I looked at the picture quietly. I think I finally am. Grace smiled. That's all I wanted. A few days later, I visited Dr. Hannah Collins for my final follow-up appointment. Dr. Hannah looked at my report and smiled. I have excellent news. No more hospital visits. No more required visits. That feels strange. Why? Because this place was part of the hardest chapter of my life. And now it reminds me that I survived. Dr. Hannah nodded. That is a powerful change. I never thought I would say that. People often discover strength after losing everything. I lost a lot. Yes. But I gained something too. What? Myself. Dr. Hannah smiled. I was hoping Ethan would reach that point. You believed in me when I didn't. I saw someone fighting even when Ethan felt broken. I looked down. Thank you. You earned this recovery. Not just physical recovery. Exactly. A quiet moment passed between us. I noticed something had changed. Talking with Dr. Hannah felt easy. There was no desperation. No need to fill an empty space. Just respect. Just trust. I used to think I needed someone else to complete my life. And now I know I was already complete. Dr. Hannah smiled. That is the healthiest thing Ethan has said. I laughed. That sounds like a doctor's approval. It is. After the appointment, I walked outside feeling lighter than ever. That evening, my company hosted a charity event celebrating our success. The room was filled with employees, clients, and friends. Noah approached me with a glass of water. Ready for your speech? I hate speeches. You build a company but hate speeches? Exactly. Noah laughed. You'll be fine. Grace stood nearby. Ethan. Yes. Look around. I followed Grace's advice. I saw people who believed in me. People who respected me. People who stayed. Grace smiled. This is what Ethan built. I nodded slowly. This is what I built. Across the room, I noticed a familiar face. Olivia. For a moment, time stopped, but the old pain didn't return. Olivia stood near the entrance, watching quietly. Olivia didn't approach. I didn't move either. We simply looked at each other from a distance. And I understood. The past was no longer pulling me backward. It was only reminding me how far I'd come. I returned my attention to the event. No one noticed my expression. Ethan. Yes. Are you okay? I nodded. More than okay. Olivia being here doesn't hurt. I looked toward the entrance again. No. That surprises me. It surprises me too. Grace joined the conversation. What changed? I stopped seeing Olivia as the person who broke me. What do you see now? Someone from my past. Grace smiled. That is a big difference. I spent so much time asking why Olivia left. And now I ask why I stayed broken for so long. Noah nodded. That question has a better answer. What answer? I survived. I smiled. Yes. Later that night, after the event ended, I walked outside alone. The city lights reflected across the streets. 1 year earlier, I believed losing Olivia meant losing everything. Now I understood the truth. Losing Olivia forced me to discover everything I had ignored. My strength, my dreams, my value, my ability to stand alone. My phone vibrated. A message from Olivia appeared. Thank you for letting me see Ethan happy. Olivia finally understands. Asterisk, asterisk. I read the message once. Then I placed the phone away. No anger. No sadness. Only acceptance. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. Noah was already there. Ethan is early? I wanted a quiet morning. Something wrong? No. Something right? I smiled. Everything. Noah leaned back. I never thought the accident would lead here. Neither did I. Do you regret anything? I thought carefully. Sometimes I regret the pain. And Olivia? I looked through the office window. I don't regret loving Olivia. Noah listened carefully. But I don't regret losing Olivia anymore. Why? Because losing Olivia helped me find myself. Noah smiled. That sounds like something Ethan would never have said a year ago. I know. Back then I thought my life ended. And now I know there was only the ending of one chapter. The weeks continued. The company expanded. New employees joined. New opportunities appeared. Every achievement reminded me that survival was not only about staying alive. Survival was about becoming someone stronger after the storm. One evening, I met Dr. Hannah Collins for coffee. Not as a patient, not because of an injury, just two people sharing a conversation. Dr. Hannah smiled. This feels different. It does. Why? Because the first time we talked, I was broken. And now I am healing. Dr. Hannah looked at me warmly. I can see that. I used to search for someone to save me. And what did Ethan learn? Nobody can build my life for me. That's an important lesson. I wish I learned it sooner. Maybe Ethan learned it at the exact moment needed. I smiled. Maybe. As months passed, I realized something. The greatest revenge was never watching Olivia struggle. The greatest victory was waking up every morning without needing Olivia's regret. I didn't need apologies. I didn't need explanations. I didn't need the past to change. I had already changed. 1 year ago, betrayal felt like the end of my story. Today, betrayal feels like the reason I started a better one. I built a company. I rebuilt my confidence. I found peace. I learned to respect myself. And most importantly, I learned that losing someone who refused to stay was not the same as losing everything. I walked through my office one final time that evening before leaving. The lights reflected across the empty rooms. I smiled. This is my life. Not the life I planned. A better one. A stronger one. A life built from pain, patience, and courage. I closed the office door behind me and walked into the night. I didn't carry anger. I didn't carry regret. I carried only gratitude for the person I became. Losing Olivia was painful, but finding myself was priceless.